Got a lot to say, but I'll try and be short. I was born in 1971. That makes me 53 years old today. I will not see the benefication of this wonderful world called green hydrogen or oil, depends on how you see it, or anything else that this wonderful country is right now in. But let me share you a couple of challenges we face. When I was born, a US dollar and a Namibian dollar or rand was 1. Today I have to pay 20 for that. That makes us 20 times more poorer than I was in 1971. 20 times. Why? I'm not going to conspiracy theories today because I can't change that. I'm going to tell you what the West did wrong because I can't change that. I'm going to tell you about the colonialists. I was born in Smip, so I'm a proud Namibian. I also come from a mining town. I can show you what, when I was a child, the largest number of professionals on the living planet living in a square kilometer was where? In Smip. The reality is that the opportunities that this country is facing now is beyond envious for me. At 53, I smile and wave, and I'm part of that story to tell, but it's not my story to live. I feel a bit like Moses, who saw the promised land but never got to it. One thing we all need to understand, and Charles made mention of that as well, there's only one thing you have to remember today. I smiled, the lady asked her, she just doesn't quite understand green hydrogen. About 3 years ago, a group came to me and said, green hydrogen is on its way. And no one knew in this country it was happening. And explained, and I said, no, I understand. I just said, there's a lot of politics that needs to go past before this thing is going to become a reality. Why? Be careful for the sense of entitlement. So there's one thing you've got to remember, and only one thing. And let me not say it, but show it. Take your hands and don't come to a suit to work. Roll up your sleeves and work as hard as you can, as much as you can. Maggie made reference, Charles made reference to that as well. Dare not pull in the Labour Act and say it's not in my job description. And I'm not against the Labour Act, but I'm against attitude. The only attitude you must have is, how hard can I work? How much can I learn? At the age of 33, I was running the largest auditing firm in this country. Age of 33. Why? Doesn't matter what work they gave me, I said yes. Where they sent me, I said yes. Almost didn't get married because my wife said, this doesn't work for me. None of my children want to become chartered accountants because I said, no, they don't want to work that hard. So I lost that fight. But hard work is the only way we're going to change this thing. Not sense of entitlement, not where are my rights, not why am I not part of this, hard work. And I'm concerned. I'm very concerned that we are waiting for our share. Do not wait. Engage. Declare my interest. In 1989, I was in grade 12, the year of elections. Unfortunately, I was more involved trying to make sure that we get independence than I was involved with studies, but at least I got my degree. But I went to Oranjemund. The last time I've been there was in 1989. I haven't been there since. I'm as guilty as hell. I do challenge you. Get to Oranjemund. Get to Ludwitz. Get to the south. The opportunities are there. But let's not forget what we have. Do we know that Namibia is one of the 10 countries in the world that has the most renewable energy generated? Why? Ruakana. So let's not forget what we do have, and let's protect that as well. The hydrogen, hydrogen. It is hydrogen, yes. The waterfalls at Ruakana generate more power in this country than we actually need. What's our challenge? Working together. I smile, and I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot. I was also there, but I'm not anymore. I smile when we say Namibia first. Sometimes sounds a bit like Donald Trump, I must be honest. We have to change that narrative to say people of the South. We need to work together as a region. We need to work together as Southern African region. Yes, it is about the world, but I'm not that big. I don't understand that world. My little world is what I see. I understand Kaza. I understand Iona. I understand the Skellington Coast. I understand Richtersveld. I understand Botswana, I understand Zambia and Zimbabwe and Angola and South Africa. I may not always agree with everybody, but I understand. Imagine we just work a lot better in Southern Africa. And in the name of tourism, we become the epicenter of tourism. We'll create more jobs than we ever could think of. Tourism is the only way we're going to have sustainable jobs in this country. I repeat, tourism is the only way we're going to have sustainable jobs in this country. I've had the privilege to share the podium for 12 years with the Minister of Environment and Tourism, and he made the statement day before yesterday, 57,000 people direct tourism. Not good enough. It should be 500,000. Question is why? Let's stop fighting each other, not just in the country, but as a region. Let's start finding ways to copy a bit. So who goes to France? Who goes to Belgium? We go to Europe. And we travel between countries free of visas. Not rocket science. Why do we put all this paperwork between countries in Southern Africa? To do what with? Yet, no, this official said you can't come in. And this official said you'll stand in this row for 5 hours before we let you through. And this official has a problem with this tire. And this official, why? We need to get freedom of movement. By the way, it's part of an agreement that we've already signed. It's called the Free Trade Agreement in Southern Africa, which we signed. We said it should be implemented, but we don't. As soon as we do that, and we work together as a region, we'll see significant growth in jobs for us in Namibia. So my challenge to the youth is, because I'm afraid it will be beyond my time, do take up the momentum that this current generation has given you. Do not ignore the history. History is important, but by golly, learn from it as well. And let's make sure that we can get this concept of Southern Africa being the message. We sat down and took a decision. We're no longer Namibia, but network. For one reason only, it's connection. We cannot get things done if we don't connect to each other. And no industry can do it except tourism. No one has that capacity. You don't trade with Botswana. You don't trade with Zambia. You don't trade with Angola. You network with them. Now, you can be a diplomat with a tie and a whatever, and that's fine. That's their job, and they network. But how do we network as ordinary individuals? It's called visiting them. Hello, how's it? Come from Sumep, officially been twice in Angola. It's a shame. So this is where we've got to start. We've got to use tourism to open the beyond borders concept. Visit the places, see the places. Business will follow, not the other way around. It's called trust. Tourism builds trust. It's the diplomatic card that trumps any flag. And so I'm so proud of this today because I can see that the future of our country is in good hands. I was here last year as well, and the passion I saw with the youth was just wow. So once again, thank you today for showing that to me. I'm very, very proud of being associated with the youth. We have a lot of challenges in our country, serious challenges. But if you have energy and passion, you're sorted. And the only people that have energy and passion is not me, it's the youth. So thank you for that. Thank you again for showing that today. I was not here yesterday because unfortunately, as my dearest mother said, doesn't matter who you are on earth, you only have 24 hours. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Time does matter. Let's be on time, every time, all the time. Because if you're late, something else won't happen. If you're late, you're putting pressure on the next person. If you're late, it means something will not happen. And we will become 20-1 because we're late. Let's not be late. I've been to many sessions in my life, but I've never seen someone as passionate without overdoing it as you, Adriano. Thank you today. I watched you and I said, wag 'n bietjie, ek kan 'n bietjie by jou leer. So baie dankie vir dit. It was full of energy, but it wasn't about you. And sometimes I find presenters think it's their advertisement for themselves. Thank you for showing that it was about the message. For everybody that had speeches here and was passionate about sharing this wonderful message of tourism, thank you. Specifically to the unsung heroes. Some call them teachers, some call them lecturers, but they are the custodians of the soul of this country. Thank you to the lecturers from NAST, IUM, for being here and spending not just today, but hours and hours, weeks and weeks, years and years of time teaching your skills to your children or to your students. I always feel that's the one sector that doesn't get the fair credit that should. And without these lecturers or teachers, I wouldn't be here today, and any of us wouldn't be here. We tend to forget them. Thank you, Mr. Teacher or Mr. Lecturer, and then that's the end. A lot more should be done to celebrate these unsung heroes. Lastly, to my team at NMH, Maggie and specifically, thank you for your passion about tourism. I met you when you weren't at NMH. And there are very few people in this country that carries that message of tourism like Maggie does. If anything, I don't think there is. And not just because you can say it. Maggie's very practical in understanding where the challenges are, where the issues are. Maybe we should make you a speaker one day, Maggie. But thank you for that. Thank you for the NTV team. For the record, there's about 20 people in the NTV team and about runs the old television channel versus some others that have thousands of people. How do we do that? Technology. Technology is critical for the future of tourism as well. We cannot engage the world without technology. We cannot reach our message and making sure that we're epicenter of the world without technology. And I do agree with you that children are too much on their phones and all the rest. By the way, my wife says I'm also too much on my phone. The reality is that's where we are. Is it an addiction? Definitely. Is it an illness? Most probably. But it doesn't change the fact that that's where we are. And so how we meet that challenge is important, and making sure that our message gets across. So we've been involved with the Tourism Expo now for 2 days. We've reached over 1 million people on our social media and on our websites and all our. It's about 5,000 people that will be through these doors in the 2 days. Now I can do an expo and reach 5,000 people, or I can do an expo and reach more than 1 million people. Same message, same story, including this one, where we're now 50 or 60 people. So let's not underestimate the power of social media, the positive power. I know there's a negative side to it as well. But what is key is that social media is part of it. So that NTV team of 15, all under 30. Maybe 1 or 2 have turned 30 lately. The youth is running this, the NTV. I don't think there's another television channel in the world that's run by the youth. And so it just shows you the power, not just of technology, of people. And I think that's sometimes when we get it wrong. I saw the presentations on the apps and the websites and all the rest. Don't underestimate the impact and the power of people in your applications. We tend to be very focused on the technologies and all that stuff, and we forget there's a person behind this thing, either using it or not, understanding it, whatever the issues are. And so spend more time in the people aspect of your development than in the technical aspect. One of my firefights I have with IT people. It's not just about the technology. It is about the people. And that's my 5 cents to the presentations earlier. I have to make one comment though, and I apologize for going there, but I just have to clarify this issue. I see there's a lot to say about paper. Now, we reach 1 million people every single day of our lives, of which about 300,000 is in print media. Paper is not the issue. So how many of us are vegan in this room? Us, I'm glad there's none of you. So we're all meat eaters, am I correct? So guess what meat eaters require? They require cattle. It's called farming. I'm not there where the European Union is about cattle and what they do, but we all farm. And people farm with trees as well. The question is not paper. The question is where does the paper come from? And when people farm with trees, it creates jobs. And those trees are planted every 10 years. It's the same as cattle. We have no problem eating the cattle, but we have a lot to say about the trees. Why? So I wanted to ask the vegans, but you didn't go there. So I'm now going back to the cattle people. But the point is, farming is part of a sustainable way of living. And when you use paper, that's part of a sustainable challenge. it's sorted. Yes, it's called, not all paper is used and burnt or whatever the case is, which shouldn't be burnt. The next level is recycling. And that is the challenge really on everything we do. It's not so much how it's created. There's a lot to say about green hydrogen and all that in terms of their creation of their parts as well and how sustainable that is. And again, I'm a very big fan of green hydrogen, but let's not just look at the output, also at the input. It's important. And then the output does come down to recycling. So just for the record, all the paper that we don't use goes where? We export it to. It's probably the biggest product that we export to that country, Nigeria, all rich country. They don't have enough paper. Interesting. So we've got to be careful when we judge a statement in isolation. We've got to see the complete understanding. And I think maybe that's part of the challenge when we look at the oil and the hydrogen, is we're still struggling to, and I understand a bit, still struggling to understand how this whole thing works. And so maybe we should have a presentation for over a year. This is what we can do. Because I'm very, very keen to understand that better. Not for me, but for you. But thank you, Charles, for your passion. I think for all the places in the world, in Namibia, there's no doubt that Ranjemund has the largest passion. And I'm not making that statement just because of today. It's been our experience with Ranjemund for the last 5-6 years. Last comment. Towns matter. I am born in Semep, so I do relate to towns. I do live in a city called Windhoek right now for more than 20 years. Towns matter. Small things matter. And in the world of tourism, it's important as well. So what we've realized at Network Media Hub is the voice of the smaller lodges, the smaller places, the SMEs. And I don't want to mention names of the larger places because they're doing wow. It's really wow what they're doing. It's beyond wow. But the smaller places' voices are not being heard as well as the larger places. And therefore, it has an impact on our towns. So we need to make sure that the voice of our towns are heard. And that's why we started with a brand called enjoy.my.na, to make sure that the smaller lodges, the smaller SMEs, not just lodges, but activities, has a collective platform, not just to reach your mother or your father, but to reach everybody in the world. There's about 5,000 lodges in this area, and everyone does its own thing. But it's not about technology, it's about the story to be told, it's about the people. So please enjoy and join us with Enjoy to make sure that the message of all these 5,000 lodges are heard, of which about 884 to be exact, I think, are in Namibia. And we're making reference to the smaller lodges. And once we start understanding that better, we'll see that communities will be more sustainable. I am not good at biology. I only have grade 9 biology, I think. But I do understand one thing, and that is that it is about people. And people's sustainability is also important. And how you manage sustainability of people is keep them in the towns, keep them in the villages, show them the economic growth in their areas. That's where their families are. When you start uprooting people to cities, it has impact. Ramatex created a lot of challenges for us when 10,000 people did not have jobs anymore. We can't talk that away. So we got to keep people in the rural areas, and only one sector can do that again. Sustainably is tourism. Thank you for your passion, and thank you for joining us today.